A week after UFC 259 produced one of the most talked about DQ finishes to a fight, that's Aljamain Sterling vs. Petr Yan, the knee from hell, the UFC followed up strong, giving us 2 no contest finishes on the main card, one via illegal knee and one via the eye poke from hell. Let's talk about it.
UFC Vegas 21 went down Saturday, March 13th, and that was a pretty crazy card. So we're just going to give you all meat and no filler in this edition from Fuel MMA. So we got to get right into the main event because there was a lot of craziness that went on.
Yeah, the main event was Leon Rocky Edwards versus Belal, remember the name Muhammad. And a lot of people are going to be saying Belal's name today, only not the way he wanted it to be. Belal was on the wrong end of one of the worst eye pokes in recent memory. I mean, Leon Edwards just reached in there and fished around, pulled the finger out. Immediate fight-ending move.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. How did we even get here? Leon Edwards ranked...
Yeah, number 3.
Okay, so ranked... number 3 amongst the welterweights, going against Belal Muhammad.
Number 13, it was a late replacement for a fight that was booked between Khamzat Chimaev and Leon Edwards. And that fight had a lot of hype behind it. Khamzat was surging, Edwards hadn't fought in a long time. People were hyped about this fight, and Khamzat unfortunately had to pull out due to complications, so he's off the card. The UFC looking around who could they replace Khamzat with, and Belal had a good fight about 3 weeks ago. He looked good in victory, and he answered the call.
Yeah, he jumped on this opportunity because Leon Edwards has been extremely vocal this entire time that he was not fighting about getting a title shot. This was in talks for Leon Edwards to be getting a title shot should he have won the fight. So this was a perfect opportunity for Belal Muhammad to be right on the, fresh in everyone's minds on the back of a really great win. Nice, exciting fight. I mean, smart guy.
Yeah.
Crazy risks.
But he's
smart
a
guy.
tough guy, too. And that's the thing. Everybody knows this man is game. He's down to fight. And this plays into the narrative of how this fight ends. For Edwards, his biggest hurdle to title contention has been inactivity. It had been more than 600 days since he last fought. He had rejected matchups. He had had fights pulled by his opponent. The fights fell through. He was trying to pick and choose. He was very vocal. He wanted to be fighting for a title. At one point, the UFC even removed him from the rankings as kind of a power play to get him to fight Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah, that's something that we discussed in a previous video. If you want to get the full details on that, we will link it above.
But now, finally, Leon Edwards' inactivity is over. He's got a game opponent in front of him, somebody who the UFC has said, you beat this guy, you get a title shot. And the fight started really strong for Edwards. He had Muhammad hurt in the first round with a head kick.
Yeah.
He was dominating.
Cut him up immediately, right on the side of the head. Yeah, you see how impactful that shot was. It stunned Muhammad too.
Yeah,
and he's usually pretty tough. So, man, taking that kick, that must have been one hell of a kick.
No, he came back from that. He disguised how hurt he was, and he pulled through the first round. But during that first round, he did get eye poked. It wasn't a major eye poke. It was a small eye poke, but it was enough for Herb Dean to issue a warning to Edwards and say, watch your fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, first round's done. That's one round in the books for Edwards. Fight goes to the second round. Edwards is looking good. And here's where it happens. He goes to throw a left high kick, but he wants to disguise it with a shot. He reaches out and literally just finger jabs Muhammad directly in the eye. And immediately, Muhammad collapses to the canvas, screaming in pain. Like,
oh my gosh, that was so hard to watch.
You just knew this fight was over.
Oh man, the pain was felt.
Instantly.
through the cameras. I mean, how could you not feel that eye poke?
Yeah, I mean, you see a guy as tough as we know Muhammad to be, literally crying and rolling around on the octagon floor. And,
my gosh.
you know, some eye pokes you think, all right, he's going to take a couple minutes, he'll continue. Everybody watching that fight knew it was over immediately. And then we get pictorial evidence. Some cameraman shot the $1 million shot. You literally see Edwards' finger is hooking the under eyelid of Muhammad's eye, like pulling it out. So it must have went in and came out.
Around, up, down.
I can't
out.
even imagine the pain that Muhammad was in at that point.
Gosh. I mean, you heard him with no fans in attendance. You can hear everything like we mentioned in our last video. You hear it all, good, bad, and worse in this case. The pain was definitely felt through. The doctor came in, and let me tell you something. Herb Dean handled this situation like the professional that he is. He made it very clear that the doctor has to make the call here. It's up to the doctor. It's not up to the fighter. You know, of course, the doctor has to ask him certain questions. And yeah, the fighter knows what he needs to say to stop the fight. But clearly, no matter what Muhammad said, whether he wanted to fight or not, the doctor knew that this fight was over.
And Muhammad, whether he wanted to fight or not, I don't think he wanted to at that point. He was so injured. But he said the magic words, I can't see. You say I can't see, the fight's over. That's how bad he was hurt. He couldn't even collect himself, even if he wanted to continue. The second he said those words, this fight's waved off.
Yeah.
So Herb Dean calls it a no contest. Main event is supremely anticlimactic, but it does make you think about fights that happened last week, about the Aljamain Sterling Petr Yan fight. Now that fight was ruled a DQ. Yan lost his belt due to throwing an illegal knee, and he was disqualified from competition. Today, Petr Yan's tweeting that, hey, these two fights that got stopped at UFC Vegas 21, they were both no contest finishes.
Yeah.
Petr Yan is alleging bias in the NSAC. He's saying they're favoring these American fighters or they're not favoring me. I don't know what to think about that. I think it was a different circumstance.
Yeah, if you think about the circumstances surrounding Jan's illegal move, he was told by the ref, he was told by most of his corner that grounded opponent, you know, these strikes only.
Yep.
No feet, no knees.
No feet or knees.
So, that's a little bit different. I don't know.
But they gave it the DQ, thus Petr Yan's complaint.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, I think he was complaining about the Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart fight, and this one was stopped via illegal knee.
Yeah.
Eryk Anders looked like a beast. I've never seen him look physically so good before a fight, and he was taking it to Stewart. He had Stewart all kinds of hurt.
And Stewart, even though he had lost his last fight against Kevin Holland, great fight, definitely watch it if you haven't. But he looked great in that third round. So he's coming off of a loss, but he was looking pretty good in defeat, if you know what I mean. So he was coming in there with a little bit of hype around him.
Yeah, they were hyping up the English fighters on this card,
Yeah.
Edwards, Stewart. But Stewart wasn't looking good in this fight. He was taking a beating.
Yeah.
And then Anders has his man hurt. He's got him against the cage. He's hurting him with shots. I mean, Stewart is 1 or 2 shots away from having the fight called, and Anders just winds up and throws a knee to a grounded opponent.
Yeah, it was another one of those situations where it was the hands on the ground and possibly the confusion, similar to what Yan described and what we saw with the hands being down, hands being up, like that tunnel vision type thing that we talked about. But clearly an illegal strike from the outsider's perspective looking in.
And you've got to think that the refs went over this clearly before this fight card, coming off that controversial stoppage at 2:59. So this just goes to show you, maybe you're looking at the grounded opponent rule and you're saying, oh, it's not that hard to understand. He's down, don't knee him. He's up, knee him. But these guys are fighting under the most intense conditions imaginable to man. The adrenaline's up. You're sustaining physical damage. Your very life is at risk every second you're in that octagon.
For sure.
You're not thinking cold, logical.
Yeah, like, oh, we're in Las Vegas, so this means the standard grounded opponent rules apply, blah, blah, blah. Like, who's going to remember that when, like, you're trying to, like, think about it?
Your life in there. They need to get it down to one rule set, the new rules, and they got to get it so every state adopts the new rules for a grounded fighter, and I think we'll be seeing a lot less of these egregious strikes to downed opponents.
Yeah, the more confusing you make it for the fighters, the more confusing it is in there for them whilst trying to avoid deadly strikes.
Yeah. Now, again, the big illegal strike in this fight was that Leon Edwards finger jab to Belal Muhammad's eye.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about a couple other fights that got stopped via eye poke or should have been stopped via eye poke.
Yeah.
I mean, DC versus Stipe.
Yeah, that was very recent.
Brutal eye poke.
Oh,
Matt Mitrione.
Yeah. Oh, that was several eye pokes.
Yeah, his eye was blown up like a balloon. We gotta do something about the gloves. Fighters have been talking about this for a while. The refs are always saying, "Oh, keep your fingers up. Keep your fingers up when you're advancing."
Yeah.
I want you to walk around for 25 minutes like this. You're gonna be reaching out, especially in a sport where grappling's involved too. You're not just striking. You're not gonna keep your fist balled up the whole time. You're gonna be trying to collar tie, to arm drag, to clinch.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be just advancing like this on your fighter.
I mean, is this realistic in the real world?
No, this is the Mummy Attacks. This is not gonna work. They need to adopt a glove designed to curl the fingers in. They need some way to keep the fighters more with the fingers closed than they are now. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing more of these eye pokes. And you're going to have more results like we had at UFC Vegas 21. That's a fight stopped via an illegal strike.
Yeah, I mean, UFC has a decent amount of money. I feel like there's a lot of money in just MMA in general. And at this point, with all of these problems and the possibility of permanent vision loss.
Yeah.
I mean, Muhammad definitely, the first thing he was thinking is, I can't see.
That's what we were so worried about.
I can't see.
Yeah.
Like, ... How long is this going to be for? Thankfully, we read the reports and the vision is starting to come back from Muhammad. So that is so wonderful to hear. He's a fighter that we really like to watch. We can't wait for him to recover and come back. But on the line of the vision, it's just, that is a very detrimental sense, especially for a pro MMA fighter. So to have the ability of that to be compromised
or taken away,
not frequently where it's taken away, but just the threat of that, why even have a threat? Let's mitigate that. Let's reduce it somehow. There are a lot of smart people out there. I know someone can do this.
Word on the street is Trevor Whitman has actually designed a glove which would keep the fingers curved in to lessen the amount of eye pokes, but apparently the UFC doesn't own the rights to this glove, so they don't want to use it. The UFC's got to get something done about this. Like, immediately. If they don't have a new glove made within a year, they're messing up.
Yeah, especially, I mean, we're playing with fire right now. It's only a matter of time before someone does lose their vision. Think about Michael Bisping.
Yeah, that guy's eye is ruined. Did you see his podcast where he took the lens out? His eye is gone. That wasn't even from a poke. That was a detached retina from a head kick. But he had to spend years hiding how impaired his vision was from the commissions to be able to fight. Michael Bisping's a gangster.
Yeah.
That is a gangster move right there.
There aren't many people like Michael Bisping that would still continue to fight losing their vision. So let's figure something out here.
So if UFC Vegas 21 highlighted anything, it's we need to get something done about these gloves and we need to get something done about these downed opponents' rules. Now hopefully they can remake the Edwards-Muhammad fight, hopefully as quickly as possible, because Belal just got to the big show. He got his main event. I don't want to see that taken away from him. Edwards, this guy's been cursed for the past few years with inactivity, with having fights fall through, with being overly selective about who he's fighting. Sometimes he was his own worst enemy. So for him too, he lost a title fight opportunity.
Coming off of how many?
7 in a row. 7 undefeated last 7 times out in welterweight.
And also how much time off. Like, this is
almost 2 years.
This was like his big comeback for himself. Yeah. And look at how it ended. So unfortunate.
Yeah, and since the UFC ended very anticlimactically, we're going to end very anticlimactically.
Womp, womp, womp.
Guys, we're going to wrap up the video. We're going to get this out to you as soon as possible. If you liked what you saw, if you're interested in what we're talking about, like, comment, subscribe. We love getting your comments because we like talking with you. So, thanks for watching. We will see you next week.
Oh, before we go, comment shout out.
I always forget. Best comment from our last video always gets posted, so we're going to leave that best comment right here.
Thank you for your comments. If you guys want to get a shout out like this one right here, just leave a comment down below. There's a lot to talk about right now with all the illegal strikes and how do you call it, no contest, intentional, unintentional, titles are on the line, people's vision is on the line. There's a lot going on. Rules are just like, what's going on with the rules?
The stakes are high in all aspects.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts down below.
Take care, guys. Postscript. If you guys have been following this whole Dominic Cruz, Hans Molenkamp, Monster Energy drink controversy, couple new developments from this fight card. 1, Angela Hill smashed the Monster bottle down during the post-fight press conference.
We saw that.
She's not having it. No Monster for her. And Michael Bisping
we caught
on
that.
air, talking about drinking a Red Bull and a Monster. Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
No one drinks both. You messed up, buddy.
He totally covered it up. He's like, oh yeah, I had a Red Bull, let's go. And a Monster Energy drink.
Monster Energy.
We caught that. We saw that. That was really funny. But is Monster Energy an afterthought at this point amongst everyone? Are they sick of it? As much as Angela Hill, Dominic Cruz, Derek Lewis,
Michael Bisping,
Dana White, kind of. He threw some shade too.
I don't know.
Michael Bisping, maybe just by accident.
We're going to keep you appraised of this very important MMA situation, so check back.